The story you're about to see is not a pretty one. It involves one of New York City's anti-crime units. The policemen assigned to these units don't wear uniforms, and they travel in unmarked police cars. Many of them are white, and yet they're often assigned to black and Puerto Rican neighborhoods. They have been praised by police officials as being one of the most effective anti-crime tools developed in recent years, but some civil rights leaders have assailed these anti-crime cops for being too trigger-happy and too brutal with minority groups. Producer Richard Kotuk recently spent a week with an anti-crime unit in the Bedford-Stuyvesant neighborhood. Here's his graphic report.
This is the 79th Precinct, a square mile of Brooklyn's Bedford-Stuyvesant. George Katz and Frank Nequipil are part of the precinct's anti-crime team. Their job is to try and stop violent street crime. A call comes over the radio. A man has been shot on Halsey Street.
We're supposed to be sharp. We're supposed to know what we're doing when we go out there.
I consider us winners when we're locking up the people who are committing the crimes. I consider us losers when we're getting crime after crime and we just can't seem to come up with a perpetrator. Then we're losers. But while we're losing a paper battle, the people in the street are actually, they're losing the actual battle. They're the ones who are bleeding, we're not.
This time, the cops are too late. Jack Motes, a disabled World War II veteran, is dying on the sidewalk. He's been shot twice in the head.
Does anybody know this man?
Yes, I know.
Yeah. I know. Nobody hear anybody seeing his shot? Does anybody get anything?
We heard some shots.
Did anybody see anything? What was it, 2 men, 1 man? You know, try to help us out a little bit. About 4 of them? Frank, any pulse?
No, nothing. Nothing at all.
This is the This is the He lived for a while, but he was shot.
110,000 people live in the 7-9 precinct, and the crime rate is staggering. 10,000 were committed last year. There were 1,200 felonies and 600 felony assaults, including rapes and attacks with knives, guns, car aerials, razors, and baseball bats. There's a murder a week in this precinct, and a crime is committed every hour of every day.
It's probably his. Outline the gloves, too. What's laying here? You're taking to the hospital, you're taking right to the morgue. KCH morgue. Right. You guys can do that? Give us a hand. Pull on your pants. Let's go. Ready? Look. Watch the... Whoa. All right. Step on. Come on. Take his head in. Got him? What's he hit with? Gunshot. I don't know. He's still away.
The sergeant, the captain, or somebody? They get a 95 tag put on this man, please. They get a 95 tag.
The description is 4 teenagers. No further description. 2 south and 2 north on Bedford Avenue.
All right. I'll tell you what, see if we can get around and start asking questions, all right?
And the sister is living down the block, the sister of the deceased here.
Is she notified?
Yeah, she knows about it, but
She knows about it.
Yeah.
Hi, Tom.
All right, well, somebody get a hold of the sister so we get all the information on the sister.
He's going to Kings County morgue.
All right. Geez, he bled a lot, didn't he?
Yeah.
He didn't die right away.
He was a friend of everybody's. Everybody in this neighborhood know Jack. He was a friend. Real great guy. And he never bothered nobody. I don't know why nobody want to hurt a guy like that. I'm hurt, really hurt. Knowing people for all these years and then something like that happen, it's got to get to you.
What about a guy who dies on a Friday night and then it's all over? Do you have any feelings, personal feelings about what happened?
I don't even think about it.
I can't afford to have any personal.
I don't even think about it. I tell you honestly, I see his face, but I forget his face as soon as I see it. It's gone again. It affected me a great deal in the beginning, but I got over it. They tell you that in the police academy right away. Don't take it personal, kid. You're gonna have ulcers before your time is out.
I guess after a while, you just get hard a little bit, Dick. I'm not saying hard where you don't care. Hard where you can't let it upset you. And I definitely could not take it home. I have to go in. I have 3 children. I can't let them see me upset over things like this.
I remember once a car on DeKalb Avenue and Summer Avenue hit a child that crossed the street, and the guy wanted to make the light and he hit the child. When we picked her up, she had no more face left. She was like sliding along on the street, and it just simply took the face away. We brought this kid immediately to the hospital, Cumberland Hospital, and there it was pronounced DOA. And this kid reminded me of my own. It was about the same age. And I looked at this kid, and my partner has 2 children, and we looked at each other, and we just about started to cry. And then we had to go and get the parents, which we did. The father comes in and the mother comes in, and they didn't know that their daughter is dead yet. So we told the father first, and he took it pretty good. And so he told the mother. And I figured she's gonna go wild now. And you know what she said? She says, "I don't believe it." So I said, "Well, how can you not believe it?" She says, "I don't believe that my daughter is dead. I want to see her." And of course we couldn't let her see her. So while we were there for about 45 minutes, she simply would not believe that the daughter is dead. And it upset me so much on that day that I went home, I couldn't eat. And my wife asked me what happened, so I told her. And every time I looked at this child, I see my own there. And after a while, like they tell you in the police academy, you don't take it personal no more.
A cop is a human being. He's a guy who bleeds. He's a guy who cries. He's a guy who gets annoyed. He's a guy who has a family. He's a guy who has problems, like every other human being. And yet he's called upon many times to put aside these personal problems and do a job very dispassionately, even though he may find that sometimes it's difficult.
As difficult as their job may be, the 12 men in the anti-crime unit account for more than 25% of the precinct's total arrests, even though they make up only 5% of the force. And last year, street crimes in the precinct were cut by more than a third.
What makes it special is that for years, cops have been in radio cars in uniform. They've looked at situations and they've said, gee, if I was only in civilian clothes, I could probably watch this fellow and make an arrest. Then somebody came along 2.5 years ago and said, let's take these same cops, your good, hard-working cops, your good, solid cops, who've worked in uniform for you, put them in civilian clothes, and let's see if they can go out and make these arrests that they've been saying they could do for years. And they were put in civilian clothes, and they did go out and do the job.
People, they don't realize, I could name, in one night, you might watch 20 women walking down the block. They don't know that you're watching them. But you're watching them while they're walking from a subway train station to their house. You see 3 kids looking at the women. You follow them. This is, you're protecting them. They don't even know anything about it unless something happens.
The cop in uniform prevents crime. He's there. He's physical. You'd have to be a fool to commit a robbery or to commit a crime in front of a cop in full uniform. But now when you take some of the fellows I have with long hair, hippie looking, this is just another guy on the street. If you're so inclined, if you're inclined to commit crimes, you're going to commit this crime because you feel that you have very little chance of being apprehended. or being caught. Now, that's where the cop in civilian clothes comes in, and this is where he does his thing. He is there. He is the law. He is the man. He is the cop.
George has seen a man shoved into a doorway. The men he's with appear to have beaten him over the head with a stick.
What's going on?
No, it ain't no problem. We just in between friends. In between friends. It's no problem. In between friends, there's no problem. Between friends. What's all this? Oh my!
Get up.
Yeah. In between friends, man. Yeah, and we just got a little disturbance. What's your? They got pictures and everything.
Yeah, hey, come here.
Hey, Jack. Hey, Jack.
Here's your hat.
Hey, this is between friends and stuff. Hey, Jack.
Why don't you take him home, man? He's drunk. He's gonna get himself.
That's what we're trying to do now. And he arguing and fussing.
All right, go ahead home. Go ahead home.
Hey, get my stick, man.
No, you can't have the stick no more.
That's my
That's mine now.
from my leg. I got
Go get yourself a cane at the hospital. On a level, baby. On a level. Go ahead.
I got to go ahead. You got the upper hand. You done took my stick.
My idea, or my thinking, a good cop is a cop who knows his job, believes in his job, believes that he does have, he takes an oath of office, and an oath says, preserve life and property, preserve the peace, protect life and property, and he believes in this, and he says that this is the oath I took. I believe it. Maybe it's being starry-eyed to say that you stood up and you raised your hand 20 years ago or 15 years ago and you took an oath of office. And I know that there probably isn't one cop in this job that the day he raised his hand and took his oath of office, that he didn't really believe deep down inside that, yeah, I am going to be one hell of a cop. And this is what I believe a good cop is. It's a guy who doesn't change this ideal. He stays with this ideal, whether it's 1 year, 10 years, or 20 years. And he stays with this ideal. I am going to be a good cop. I'm going to do the job that I thought I was supposed to be doing when I came into the police department. And this is a good cop. It's someone who cares.
As a child going to a parade, I used to see a mounted police officer, you know, and I used to look up and say, gee, I'd love to be one of them, you know, sit up there on top of a horse and with a uniform on. And I was very interested in it, as a child, of course. But as I grew older and went into the service and everything, it was completely washed out of my mind. Then after I came out of the service and I got married, of course, had 3 children. I worked at several different jobs, but nothing was really promising. And I haven't had much of an education because I lost my father when I was 14 years old. And I had to go out and, you know, put some bread on the table. So that aborted my education to a degree. When I finally decided that I had to get something secure to take care of my family and try to live a little more comfortable than I was, I said, well, I'm going to try civil service. The police department, I got 99.1. And with my veterans credits, it came out to 104.1 and put me very high on the list. So within 2 months, I was appointed to the job. I was able to provide a little better for my family. And it had a little prestige to it. You know, I was cleaner, I wore clean clothes. And also the fact that I was helping people for a change, you know. Somebody would come to me for help and I'd done something and at the end of the day I would say, gee, look at that. The guy walked away happy, you know, satisfied.
Most of the men, in fact, all of the men, they're working people. They make a salary. They know how far their check can go. They know how much money they have. They know what they've got, their bills they have to pay. And they know that if they were to lose a week's pay out of their pocket all of a sudden, it would be a disaster to their families. And most cops live hand to mouth. It would be a disaster to lose a week's pay. Well, you take some poor guy down here who makes his $100, $125 a week, and he's on his way home from work, and he gets ripped off. You take a week's pay out of his pocket. This affects not only him, it affects his whole family. These are the things that the cops here know this. They see the people. They see the people who come in and say, hey, gee, I only make $90 a week and some guy ripped me off for $80. This is everything he's got. $80 a week to some people, maybe not to some of the people who watch your program. $80 a week may not be a hell of a lot of money. But to a guy who's only making $100, $125, $80 is an awful lot of money to lose on a street stick-up. This is the motivation. The men know this, and they live with it.
When I first got assigned, it was to a TPF unit, and to the 7-3 precinct, which is our neighboring precinct, actually. And I had no idea what is going on here, you know, even though I lived on Bushwick and Grove, right down the block. But I never walked around here. So after we got turned out, the sergeant would say, look, you rookies, stay here. I have to give you a little instruction. So he would say, listen, fellas, don't go into a house alone because you might not come out alive. I was like, what the hell is he talking about? You know, everybody's out here to kill you. So always 2 guys assigned. So he sent the first guy ahead. He's an old-timer, so to speak. He's like 3 years on the job, and he would know where to go and what to do. So now, the first day on there, we had our uniforms on, nice and clean, you know. I had to walk up on Stone Avenue, up and down. About 2 o'clock in the morning, next thing I hear, a shopping bag full of garbage is coming down from somewhere, and it's landed right behind me. And my partner, I didn't even realize it. My partner was already behind the car, and I was still standing there wondering what happened. And there I realized, Jesus Christ, this guy is really fast. You know, you gotta wake up. So I wondered to myself, I said, now who the hell would do a thing like this? I haven't done anything to anybody. And then later on at night, an egg comes flying from somewhere and hit the wall and splattered in the back, splattered my whole brand new uniform, right? So I had my shoes and everything. So I said, gee, this is not my day. I go home and my wife stood up till 3 in the morning. She says, how was your first night? I said, take a look at me. I don't think I'll last 20 years. The first night, they almost killed me.
This misunderstanding is not directed at you as a person, but it's directed to you as a symbol of authority, or to you as a symbol of a society that people are unhappy with. So in time, you begin to realize that it's not you personally that someone is out there who's mad at. He's not mad at John Jones, cop. He's mad at a blue uniform. He's mad at a society that possibly he sees no hope in coping with, and you represent this society.
For the men in anti-crime, every night is spent riding and looking and waiting. It's boring, but it's also tense, because nobody knows where or when something's going to happen.
Shut up, Michelle.
You having trouble in here or anything? No. What's the problem? No.
There's been a report of a man with a gun in a bar. He's supposed to have threatened to kill his common-law wife and her daughters.
He told me how he was in my house. I called y'all. He got me scared to death. He got a minor in the bar. He wouldn't let my sister go home.
All right, she can go home now. Listen.
He threatened my mother. Told her she better come home. He threatened me and everything else. Right around the corner, he told her she can't even get in the house. Well, he gonna crack her skull. He's just threatening my country.
I'm not threatening anybody. I'm telling her to drink in my neck. What's this?
Who is the girl? You're a police officer. You know that.
I know that.
Who's the girl that's crying?
Michelle, shut up.
Jimmy, it's his daughter. His 2 daughters over there. He's holding one of them here. He won't let the mother come back into the house, some bullshit like that. So the daughter says he has a gun, but he doesn't have it with him right now.
Okay, come on, baby.
Come on, hon, come with us.
Right.
You want to ride? You got to ride. You got one.
Miss, come on.
You got one.
Okay. Come on, Michelle.
I don't care. They're not legally married.
Wait a minute. That's my daughter back there crying. That's my daughter.
Come on,
Michelle. Michelle, come here. Come here. That's my daughter, man. I'm all right. I ain't going nowhere. That's right. Yeah, I'm a crazy
Slow down, will you?
You figure it out.
Come on. Right, come on. You make it.
Go ahead. She'll be all right.
JB, go ahead now. I'm talking to you. Go ahead. All right. They're going to bring them down.
Stupid ass self.
On their way to the precinct, the cops have learned that this man was warned by the police less than an hour ago to leave his wife alone.
Now remember, no argument, no noise, okay?
I'm not going to say a word.
Okay. Take a seat over there, madam. Right here.
79 PIU, 10-1 New York Dispatch.
I don't think they have it over here.
We'll see in a minute.
You were here a few minutes
Yeah,
ago,
they
right?
just told him to leave me alone. The detectives came back here. They just told you to don't hit me and leave me alone. And you getting ready to beat me up again in the bar.
What do you mean, two detectives?
Oh, he gonna
I didn't
beat me
open my
all
mouth
up.
to you.
You was gonna, if it hadn't been for John, it was like John was told a cop, you was gonna beat me up
I
again.
wasn't going to do anything to you.
He gonna kill me because I had the cops on him and all that stuff. And he has a gun. Yeah, he got his stash around there somewhere.
Y'all
You got
find
it somewhere.
Find it.
John.
I'm scared of him. I am scared of him. And he gonna beat me up tonight. Told me I better not come home. And I have no place else to go tonight because I have to go up there and get my clothes. It's our place.
You should go to family court if you can't make it out with him.
He's not my husband. I can't go to family court.
They passed a law that common law is also like family court.
I'm gonna get a peace warrant for him. He because if I go out the street
for
now.
19 years, you said.
No,
right?
about 16 to 17. If I
16
go
or
out the street
17?
now, he gonna beat me up. If you let him out here, he gonna beat me up. He got the gun in that bar. He done hit it somewhere.
I'm waiting for the detective to call me that you spoke to earlier.
Okay.
He'll be calling the
He done hit
Ask all the people in the bar, then he said he could go get the gun in 1 minute.
And they said they'll come
When you
and
was
they'll
getting
say it.
ready to punch me, you told me you gonna get the gun in 1 minute if you want it.
Girl. Well, I'll tell you what,
When
y'all.
you said you ain't gonna hit me, what you do to me, you go get the gun, you could go get your gun in 1 minute if you want it.
All right.
And don't tell me you got, I've seen it 1,000 times.
I said that.
And I better never see you again, because as soon as I see you, I'm gonna call the cops.
Yeah, you did? Oh, good.
It'll be 20 years from now, and you better not even have a play toy gun on you.
Good.
I'll call the cops. I ain't mama, I ain't that scared of you, know.
See, I'm hip to that.
Where did this happen at?
Home in the house.
In the house.
Yeah, you can't talk now.
Right. I want to do nothing to you. I ain't beat you.
No.
I ain't done nothing to you.
Picking something back inside his head, see
You got black eye?
I got a sprain on and bumped in my head here.
You got bump in the head? Yeah, I don't know what you keep talking about.
Because
How
you
old are you?
ridiculous.
I'm 50.
50? What's your date of birth?
25th of December, 1920.
20?
1925.
You were born in Brooklyn here, or where were you from?
No, I was born down south.
Were you ever arrested before, John?
Yeah, sure, I arrested.
When was the last time?
Oh, it's about 3-4 years ago.
You were about 1971?
Something like that. No, about 60-something.
What did they got you for?
Oh, they got me for guns.
Guns?
Guns.
No,
One time for
hey.
cutting up somebody, next time for having a
Oh,
gun.
well, thank you very much. Y'all really,
Find it out. We find
Y'all-
it. Let him talk.
y'all really trying to scuff me off.
You was trying to stop me.
John.
Oh, good. That's what you told me, okay.
John. John Richardson.
Yeah.
Listen, you are under arrest right now. Okay?
On arrest?
Under arrest on the complaint of Rosalie McManus. She claims you hit her, you struck her, you had a gun, she seen the gun, and you threatened her with
They
a
had
gun.
no gun.
I don't know. I'm just telling you what she said, okay?
Yeah.
Now listen to me. I'm going to give you your rights. You understand them, you will answer to me. If you don't understand, you will tell me so, okay? You have the right to remain silent and refuse to answer questions.
Right.
You understand?
All right.
Anything you do say may be used against you in a court of law. Do you understand?
I understand that, too.
Okay. You have the right to consult an attorney before speaking to the police,
I'm not even worried about that.
and to have an attorney present during questioning now or in the future.
No. But then I want...
Wait a minute.
Then
Let
I
me
want-
finish this, okay?
Yeah.
And then you can talk whenever you want to talk, okay?
Then I want her arrested.
Okay, wait a minute. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided for you without cost. You understand that?
I understand all of that.
If you...
Look, you don't have to read this to me.
Okay, no, I do have to read it. I do have to read
Thank you.
it. Wait a second. If you do have not an attorney available, you have the right to remain silent. You understand that?
Yeah, I hear you.
Now that I have advised you of your rights, are you willing to answer questions without an attorney present?
Without an attorney? Yeah. I'm willing to answer my own question.
Okay, John, you will stay tonight at the 90 precinct, the 90th precinct. And tomorrow morning you have an opportunity to go to court, and you will tell the judge whatever you think is right, okay?
Hey, but I don't understand this, you understand? Well, why she have to walk out?
I don't know.
Why she have to walk out?
She's the one who made the complaint.
She made the complaint, right?
Yeah.
You understand? But
take the daughter's name.
Put it this way, you understand me?
Take her as a
she didn't find anything. Nobody found nothing, you understand? Nobody did nothing, you understand me? So why do I have to do this, you understand? Tell me why.
Because she made a complaint.
She made a complaint.
She claims that you had a gun. She's seen the gun on you.
No.
I don't know, John.
She didn't see nothing, man. I'm telling you, she didn't see anything.
Rosalie, tomorrow at 9 o'clock. At 9 o'clock. No later than that.
I'll tell you what you do. I stay in jail at night, right? I stay in jail at night.
Hold it a minute.
Leave town.
Rosalie.
Leave.
Rosalie, you listen.
You better leave. If I stay in jail at night, you have to leave town. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, you better leave town now.
Hey,
I mean what I said.
Hey, John, remember?
If I stay in jail, leave town.
John, will you calm down? Calm down.
I hear you.
Calm down, please.
Go out of here. Better leave out of here. You better drop this charge right now. Otherwise, not leave town.
Hey, John, will you keep quiet?
If you don't, I'm gonna kill you.
Get him!
All right, unload, reload. I will not blow a whistle. There'll be nobody to blow a whistle for you out in the street. Your partner will probably yell, or the first man to see him will yell. So that will be your command. The line is loaded. Get him! All right, gentlemen, look at your targets. They should all be right in the center. All right,
once a year, every man in the 7-9 anti-crime unit goes to the police department firing range on City Island for 2 days of combat training. The men get intensive training in street combat tactics, the double-barrel shotgun, and the .38 caliber revolver.
Look at them and check them.
This is a red barrel gun, gentlemen. For training purposes, it's something that we use so that you will not have any feelings of regret should you see a revolver waving around. It has neither shells nor a firing pin. We ask you to get a good tight grip on the revolver. The tighter you hold the revolver, the better your shot group is going to be. Take your step to the left, bring the gun in front of your face, hold it tight, and shoot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Bring the revolver back. Bring it to 12 o'clock, snap the shells out, combat reload. Use the combat crouch at all times, fellas. Face your shoulder towards the target. This way, if you get hit, you'll get hit in the shoulder. Load your rounds. Try to keep a uniform speed. Close it up. Punch it out. Again. 1, 2, 3.
Target from where you are, see where those shots are striking. Evaluate your own target. Underline, once again, remember, tight grip on that weapon. You have to stroke that trigger if you want good, solid hits. On the whistle, 6 rounds.
How'd you do? They're pretty good, very good. They're all in good shape. As you can see for yourself, all around in the middle of the center here. Some of them went outside, but we were firing from 50 feet, and that's quite a distance. You usually don't shoot at a perpetrator at that distance. It's usually sometimes within 3 to 7 feet. That's where most policemen get killed. It's very close. And if you did the right thing, you survive. If you didn't do it, you're just like the guy who lays on the ground, and that's the end of it.
Go ahead, go ahead.
A call has come in. A man's been held up and robbed. 3 young men were spotted running through a playground and into a tenement.
You live here, son? Do you live here? Where do you live?
Around the corner.
Around the corner? You visiting someone here? Huh? Are you visiting someone here?
Oh, my friends live on the block. I'm looking for them.
One police, go back up here. One police officer, go back up. Anybody else up there, George?
No.
3 of you standing against the wall. Turn around. You turn around too. What are you doing here? What are you, face the wall. What are you doing here?
Who?
The 3 of you. What do you mean, who?
I ain't up with him. I ain't even upstairs, man.
You live upstairs?
Yeah.
You're not with these fellas?
Not with him.
I don't know. Are you with him?
He with me.
He's with you?
Yeah. And my friends, all my friends live on this block.
And what are you doing in the building?
I'm looking for them.
In the building?
They be in these hallways. They all live on this block.
You want to go downstairs, please, and tell the officer.
Bring your
complaining up here. It'll be 1 second, man.
Yeah.
Let me explain to you what happened.
Yeah.
3 dudes ripped the guy off. They came into one of these buildings.
Yeah.
Now, it's a coincidence, maybe, that there's 1, 2, 3 men here, right?
Yeah.
Can you understand why we stopped you?
I understand.
And just be patient for 2 minutes, and you can go on your way.
These two playing together. This guy was in the hall looking for his friends.
No, and they're all clean? No. All right, that's it then. They're not the ones. What'd you run for?
Everybody else ran.
You only ran.
Why do you continue to work in a place where there's so much trouble? Why do you do it?
Well, I think that if I left and everybody else that was here like me left, what the hell would happen to the place? The many good people that are still left here, they'd have to run too. If we all got totally disgusted with the little bullshit that we see in the street, or the lot of bullshit we see in the street, however you want to look at it, and decided we wanted out, what would happen here? What would happen to the good people that are left, that need us? Their homes would be ripped off. They wouldn't be able to come out to even go to their mailbox.
When you see an old woman that got robbed, just a purse snatch, right? And she shakes like a leaf, and it's not just for 1 hour. She's probably afraid for the rest of her life to come out and walk around here. And what is the guy getting even if you catch him? 2 months suspended sentence? 3 months? Maybe he gets a half a year. Is it really the punishment? Is it really what she's going through all the time? You know, you wonder. Look, you know, you see people, you come in and you can see it. They want help. There's nowhere to go. Where are you going to go? What are you going to do?
A man has been beaten and robbed. He's stumbled into the station house and collapsed on the floor. The beating has brought on an epileptic fit.
Would you put another rush on the ambulance to the station house? Also have emergency service respond.
You can wrap it up, but
just help restrain them.
You talk about dedication. Dedication is I guess, an overworked word, but actually these fellas are dedicated. They do care, and that's why they're here. That's why they're doing this job. He either has to believe in what he's doing, or he's one hell of an actor. And I don't believe they're actors.
Let me get everyone at once. 1, 2, 3.
You ready?
One man.
You do develop a sense of closeness, togetherness, but this is because you're working together all the time. We as cops, going back over the years, we tend to call one another brother, and we mean it. We mean it. This is my brother, and not to get biblical, but I'm my brother's keeper, and I hope he's mine. I hope he's out there worrying about me as much as I'm worrying about him. And I know in most cases that we do worry about one another. We had a cop shot yesterday in the 71st precinct. Now, all over the city, cops are on the phone calling up, how is he, how did he get shot, is he going to make it, does he need blood, does he need this? You know, when one of ours is shot, and one of ours, it's a cop, it's one of our brothers, and one of our brothers is shot, we have to have that feeling as if it was part of our own personal family.
Is there a feeling of love for each other?
I guess love is an odd word. I guess it's a very hard word for a man to talk about, love for another man. But there is a love. There's a love of one another because you know that he is your brother. And it's the love that you have for a brother. He is your brother.
2 weeks after Jack Motes was shot and bled to death on the sidewalk on Halsey Street, the 7-9 Anti-Crime Unit arrested 2 suspects. One was 16. The other was 13 years old. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
No, not really. I can't think of anything else. I think we've just about hit every facet of being a cop. I think you've gone over them. You've picked my brain and tried to pick my soul, and that's it.
Did I pick your soul at all?
I think you got me. I think you know where I'm coming from. At least I hope you do. And that's all I can hope for, is that you know where I'm coming from. And you know that there are thousands of cops out there, just like myself, who are coming from the same place. Throughout the country, there are cops like me who are coming from the same way and who want to accomplish the same things. Make this just a little better place to live in for everybody. And that's it.
Dying on the sidewalk. He's been shot twice in the head.
Does anybody know this man?
Yes, I know. Nobody here? Anybody see him get shot?
Does anybody get help?
We heard some shots.
Did anybody see anything?
What was it, 2 men, 1 man? You know, try to help us out a little bit.
About 4 of them.
Try getting pulse?
No, nothing.
He's DOA.
Nothing at all.
He's DOA.
Nothing at all.
He's DOA. He lived for a while, but
This is the 79th Precinct, a square mile of Brooklyn's Bedford-Stuyvesant. George Katz and Frank Nequipil are part of the precinct's anti-crime team. Their job is to try and stop violent street crime. A call comes over the radio. A man has been shot on Halsey Street.
We're supposed to be
The story you're about to see is not a pretty one. It involves one of New York City's anti-crime units. The policemen assigned to these units don't wear uniforms, and they travel in unmarked police cars. Many of them are white, and yet they're often assigned to black and Puerto Rican neighborhoods. They have been praised by police officials as being one of the most effective anti-crime tools developed in recent years, but some civil rights leaders have assailed these anti-crime cops for being too trigger-happy and too brutal with minority groups. Producer Richard Kotuk recently spent a week with an anti-crime unit in the Bedford-Stuyvesant neighborhood. Here's his graphic report.
sharp. We're supposed to know what we're doing when we go out there.
I consider us winners when we're locking up the people who are committing the crimes. I consider us losers when we're getting crime after crime and we just can't seem to come up with a perpetrator. Then we're losers. But while we're losing a paper battle, the people in the street are actually, they're losing the actual battle. They're the ones who are bleeding. We're not.
This time, the cops are too late. Jack Motes, a disabled World War II veteran, is 110,000 people live in the 7-9 precinct, and the crime rate is staggering. 10,000 were committed last year. There were 1,200 felonies and 600 felony assaults, including rapes and attacks with knives, guns, car aerials, razors, and baseball bats. There's a murder a week in this precinct, and a crime is committed every hour of every day.
It's probably his. Outline the gloves, too.
What's laying here?
Can you take him to the hospital or you take him right to the morgue? KCH morgue. Right. Give us a hand.